Okay, so how about we get going with our theme today?
Yeah.
And I'm going to actually start by reading the post that we had today. And Slojana, maybe you can help me with this, with reading this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Is it fair to say that couples are generally treated like royalty on their wedding day? On their wedding day, right? In certain cultures, wedding outfits worn by couples even make them look like royalty. Is it also fair to say that a husband and a wife do not necessarily treat each other like royalty in their marriage?
Once you're married. Yeah.
In their
Yeah.
marriage,
Yeah.
yeah. Attention, married couples.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you'd like to be treated like royalty in your castle
Uh,
slash
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Casa is
casa
yeah, it's a
all the
Spanish word,
time.
right? That means house. So mi casa, su casa. People say that.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
house is your house. Yeah, yeah. So that's what today's session is about. Is about being treated like royalty. One of our friends, who likely will be joining us here, Monica, not Monica, sorry, Laura O'Connell, actually sent me a picture. She posted a picture. I think it was on LinkedIn of an Indian couple on their wedding day, where he's wearing a headdress that looks like a crown, and of course a lot of brides, in here, in the North American tradition and other traditions often wear a tiara, or something that resembles a crown. All right, and so
Sometimes.
Brenna, you're funny. Brenna says we sometimes treat our spouses like quote jesters is what she meant to say, right? Yeah, isn't that true though, eh? Yeah. So you start out as the king and the queen, but then after a while, unfortunately, that's not how we tend to treat each other, and so
It seems to kind of fade away.
it fades away. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So actually, I was a little bit inspired for today's session by another friend of ours, Monica Tanner. And Monica had a post on Facebook. And by the way, if you connect with Monica on Facebook, you'll be able to see this post. And because we're just going to read from it, she received a text from someone, and she took a screenshot. And then here's Monica's post. So then maybe you can read her introduction to her post, and then we'll read the actual text message that she received.
Hmm. So yesterday I received so many messages like this one from men and women who were disappointed about how their Valentine's Day went.
Okay.
And here's another post.
Here's the
Monica.
actual text that she
Oh,
received.
actual text. Okay. Monica, I'm completely frustrated. Another Valentine's Day has come and gone, and I'm again left in disappointment. I received absolutely nothing from my husband yesterday, and the night didn't even end with intimacy. It ended with me feeling mad at my husband for not getting it, and mad at myself for letting such things make me emotional. So this
Okay.
is she sent it the day after Valentine's
Valentine's
Day
Day
when she
to
says
to
yes.
Monica, and Monica, like us, is a relationship expert. She particularly works with women, with entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
and so we get a lot out of her posts, and we actually did a podcast with Monica.
Mhm.
That's how
Mhm.
we got to know her, and we follow each other on social media. And so that's kind of sad. I mean, it's a little bit like what Brenna is talking about here. We start treating our spouses well, I quote, just jesters or as anything but
Mhm.
royalty, right?
Mm.
And so how does that slide happen? Okay, and so there's another one of our friends, LinkedIn connections from Ajax, Hamad. Nice to have you with us. All
Mhm.
right. Hamad is also an expert, especially with careers and on LinkedIn. Connect with him, please. If you're on LinkedIn, you'll gain a lot just from watching his what he posts and absorbing it. Right. So friends, here we are talking about how is it that this kind of change happens. Excuse me. And really, what can we do, to change that, so we end up treating each other like royalty all over again, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So first we want to focus on the word casa, or the house, and then we'll get on, to the flip side of it, casa that becomes a castle, and then royalty. Okay. So Slogan, I don't know if you remember this, but many years ago, I'm sure it's over 20 years ago, probably more like 25 years ago, we were both at a conference. It was actually a business conference, but a lot of us were attending it as couples. And one of the speakers made this statement, which obviously I haven't forgotten 25 years later, because it had that kind of an impact on me. So, you know what? Why don't you read the statement, and then we will actually
Yeah,
put
I
it on the
remember
screen.
this also. So your house should be the first place you want to come back to and the last place you want to leave.
Okay.
So this was he was a successful, very successful businessman mentioned this, and that is so 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 true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me just put that up here. So
Mhm.
because it's slightly longer quote than normal. So he said, your house should be the first place you want to come back to when you're away, and the last place you want to leave. Okay. And so unfortunately, one of the things that we're finding is that when there's conflict, or some kind of dysfunction in a marriage, then the exact opposite happens. Where your house or your home, turns out to be the last place you want to come back to, because like you have no idea, what's going to happen when you get back, or that when you get back, you're coming, to face, strife and a lack of harmony, and leftover conflicts from the day before, whatever, right?
Yeah. How
So
you're going to be
treated,
and-
yeah. Or you may replay something that happened maybe the day before, when you came and came home from work or whatever. And so the opposite ends up happening. And the same thing, the last place you want to leave, well, when things are not going well, the house is the first place you want to leave. You want to get away from there. And sadly, I mean, this is not so much true of this COVID season, but pre-COVID for sure, a lot of people took refuge in their offices, in their work, or you arrange business trips so you can get away and not have to be home. I'm sorry. I'm kind of. I don't want to talk about it callously, but
that is very very sad.
yeah, it's very sad when that happens. But it does happen. People just stay away from each other, and so this casa, this house, this home that you should be looking forward to coming to, and then really sad to leave, turns out the opposite. I just, when I was thinking about this just a while ago, I also uh, wanted to add one more element to it. Sometimes when the reason you want to come back home is actually not to see your spouse, but to just see your kids, to be with your kids, and you end up neglecting your spouse. And the kids are of course glad to have you back because they missed you all day, right? And so in the meantime, your spouse, who may have been home with the children, or who may have been out, on their own, working, running a business, and coming home, completely gets neglected. And so that's not good either. If you're coming home, yes, you look forward to coming home, but not to be with your spouse, the one that you promised to spend the rest of your life with, but just your children. And friends, this is sad to say, because we've been around long enough, and been pastor long enough to know and to actually see with my own eyes marriages that really should have never break up, because one parent quite often put on I would say an unreasonable focus on the children, or a child. I remember one very sad case with the father and the daughter. They had a great bond, but he completely neglected, his wife in the process, and sadly, that marriage did not last. And so, So this is the way our home should be, and the way that we can uh, change that,
Mm-hmm.
really has to do something with changing the atmosphere
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the home,
that's right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what would be some characteristics of a, how would we say, maybe something like a welcoming atmosphere, or an atmosphere that is going to be there, that you're looking forward to being in, right? Yeah, so what would be some things that are important about that atmosphere that will make you want to look forward to being there?
First of all, you want peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want peace in your home. Yeah, peace between you and your spouse. And if there's any any conflict, we all do have disagreements. Make sure it's resolved. Resolved as soon as possible, and don't let it lingering. So that you always have peace in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at what, yeah, Brenna's got a good point. She said lots of laughter. If you know there's going to be lots of laughter, it's a relaxed atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever noticed that there are certain friends that we look forward to being with?
Mm-hmm.
And why is it that we look forward to being with them? It's because we know that when we get together with them, there's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a barrel of laughs, or a barrel of monkeys. I don't know whatever the expression is. But you want to be in places, right?
Yeah.
Where
Peace.
there'll be peace, there'll be
There's
harmony, there'll be joy. I think that's what Brenna's
Joy,
getting
yeah.
at.
Laughter.
Yeah, there'll be joy. And Slogan said something very important, that if it is not there, and like you walk in and sometimes you say, the tension is so bad, I can cut it with a knife. Okay, so thick I can cut it with a knife. Okay, well, there's a simple rule that you can adapt. That Slogan and I, do our very best to follow this. As she said, we still get into disagreements with each other. We still can rub each other the wrong way from the time to time. Not that easy to do. But we still do it. Okay, from once in a while, even though we're very careful.
Yeah, we try and resolve it as quickly also.
Yeah. So what is our philosophy about resolving stuff?
Yeah, we try and resolve it before we go to bed.
Yeah.
Just like the Bible verse. You can't do it all the time.
Yeah. The Bible verse that Slogan is referring to is the one that says, don't let the sun go down on your anger. In other words, get your anger to go down before the sun goes down, or make peace, reconciliation, before you hit the hay. Otherwise, chances are very good that you won't resolve it in the morning, because in the morning, you're going to be busy with your own stuff. It's going to be prolonged for another day, right? And again, Slogan said, there are times when we've had this happen, where something happens later in the evening or in the day, and we just don't have the energy to resolve it at night, so we do go to bed. Not totally happy with each other. Okay.
But maybe at least we tell each other, okay, this is not a good time. We will resolve it in the morning.
Yeah.
As long as you agree with each other.
Yeah.
And know that it's going to be taken care of when in the morning or tomorrow afternoon. Then you're okay. Then you will feel that peace.
Yeah.
That's what we teach our couples, and we do it ourselves also.
Yeah, it's interesting that Brenna would say about lots of laughter, because this is particularly true when women have been questioned about what are some of the qualities that you would really relish in a man. One that almost, it's maybe not always the top of the list, but it's at the top three, is a sense of humor. In other words, as a matter of fact, another way that it's often phrased is someone who will make me laugh, like not a comedian. I don't think women are looking for a comedian.
No.
Although some of you ladies luck into one. So you're not looking for a comedian, but you're looking for someone who will make you laugh. And so not create laughter at your expense, which some of us guys are very good at doing. Mea culpa, I've done that. Okay, but really, to find, the have a kind of a light attitude
Mm-hmm.
about things, and not take yourself too seriously. And usually, the best way to make the other person laugh is by poking fun at yourself. Oh, light bulb went off, didn't it? Okay, yeah,
Yeah, one thing, that's why one thing we do, like on Friday night, sometimes we look for a movie. We like the comedies.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We
Just something to
exactly, yeah.
laugh.
So yeah, you can laugh together at something while watching a movie or something. Brenna has something else here. Sue makes me laugh because we are weird and silly together. Okay, that's good. Yeah, just kind of let down your guard. I think that's the key. I think, Brenna, you hit on something really good here, because when you're laughing, that means you're enjoying each other,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. You're being vulnerable with each other, and yeah, like being silly, like all of that is great. By the way, can I give you a hint? And Brenna and Stu have children, and this is to anybody else that has children. Be silly and laugh together in front of your children as much as possible. Make sure they get in on the act. Not if you're like doing like talking about something risque or whatever, but when it's good, clean fun that you're both having, make sure your children are watching. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because it gives your children so much security
Yeah.
when they see mom and dad are having a good time together. Because one of the greatest fears that children live with is that their parents will not be together,
Mm.
for life, like as divorce, that they will lose one of their parents. And this is why, sadly, a lot of times when there's a divorce, who children blame? Themselves,
Mm.
for the divorce. And which of course is far from the truth. And so the more your children see you laugh, and have fun cutting up together, the more secure it is. Now, this is a little bit of a rabbit hole, but also let them see you, kiss each other, hug each other, like, to, do some of those kind of fun things. Get them
In
to the
front.
point where they tell you to go get a hotel room or something like that. Okay. Okay.
And the one thing, maybe in that note, the one thing you don't want to do is not to fight in front of your children and have arguments, discussions, and that will scare them.
Yeah.
Thinking, especially the young ones,
Yeah.
they'll think, oh, mom and dad are not getting along.
Yeah.
They
They're
are
not going to be together.
together.
Yeah. 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 Oh, this is Dave and Carol Elliott, great friends. And these guys have been married way longer than us.
Mm-hmm.
It's over 50 years, right?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
because we were at their 50th wedding anniversary
Mhm.
celebration a couple of years ago. And it's what Carol says. Dave rarely misses an opportunity to change or lighten a moment or an atmosphere, especially with others. And if you know Dave, Dave's a card. 53 years they've been married together. Oh my goodness, that is awesome. Okay.
53.
And by the way, Dave and Carol play a very important part in our marriage mentorship. And and we've probably mentioned, I'm sure we mentioned them before, but one of the key things that we do, that we're able to guarantee results in our marriage mentorship, is that we help a couple get rid of their spiritual blockages that are holding them back from enjoying intimacy, laughing together, resolving conflict, and so on. And they are our go-to team that we send couples to. And by the way, even if your marriage is not at that place and you feel there's some things blocking you, you're continuing to express certain unhealthy emotions, uh, I would recommend that you meet with Dave and Carol and have at least one session with them, a 90-minute session. You'll be amazed at the difference it makes. All right. So let's get back to our casa and castle. So we need to shift the atmosphere,
Yeah.
right? And how do we go about creating that? Well, that's what we tend to cover in some of the other sessions. So if you go back, listen to some of our previous recordings. If you go to youtube.com/Jiva Sam, then there are all the videos that we've done on Ask the Sams are all in one place. And so you can, and they're actually themed. So you know what the theme was, and you can go and watch them and learn a lot from them. Or, if you are at a place where you cannot make those changes on your own, you need somebody to hold your hand and help you with it, then that's when you reach out to us and
Mhm.
we'll help you with it. All right. Now, the other part of what we mentioned in that post is about royalty, treating each other as royalty. And so our home, yeah, is a casa, but it's also a castle. And that's why on the wedding day, people sometimes wear outfits that make them look like a king and queen.
Mhm.
And there's like feast. And by the way, even if you don't wear you know kingly and queenly outfits,
Mhm.
you do, like, you are made to feel very special on your wedding day, aren't you?
Yeah, on the spotlight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're on the spotlight, you're given royal
Right.
treatment.
Yeah.
People will give you stuff and do things for you that day. Even your siblings will do things for you that they normally would say, oh, go get it yourself. Okay. On your wedding day, no. Well, what would you like? I'm here. Tell me whatever you want. I'll bring it to you. Okay. All right. So you're treated like royalty. And we're coming at things from a Christian perspective.
Mhm.
And so in the Christian faith, one of the things that we're all called is we're called a royal priesthood.
Mhm.
So we are royalty.
Yes.
We are children
And
of a
God's.
heavenly Father who is a king.
Mhm.
And so we are literally, from a faith perspective, that's the way we view each other. And so even if you're Christians married to each other, you have to remember that
Mhm.
that you're messing with the son of a king or daughter of a king when you don't treat them like royalty,
Yeah. That's right.
because your king in heaven expects you to
Mhm.
treat each other that way. Okay.
Mhm.
So Sloja, here's another statement that we've heard before. And so let's just get into royalty for a little while.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. If you treat your husband.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you treat your husband like a king, he'll treat you like a queen. Queen. And if you treat your wife like a queen, she'll treat you like a king. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
king and a queen.
Yeah. So now that's kind of like a fun statement to say and a memorable one, right? If you treat your husband like a king, he'll treat you like a queen, and so on. But there's one more thing that we need to add to that.
Mhm.
Okay, that cannot be conditional, because the love in a marriage is unconditional. Like, I love you no matter what. So what we need to add to that is, I'm not going to wait
Mm.
until Sojana starts treating me like a king
Yeah.
before I start her treating like a queen,
Mhm.
and vice
Mhm.
versa,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you wait, you'll be waiting for a long time. All right?
I think most of us get into that stubborn, the stubbornness in us.
You too.
I think we sometimes feel like, okay, I'm going to wait till he does it first. I'm not going to do it. Lots of time, that's what happens, and you're wasting your time. Yeah, like Jiva said, you're wasting your time. Your precious marriage, that God brought you together to be happy. So one of you should start first, and the other person will come along. And
Yeah.
keep praying if your spouse hasn't come along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the key. Okay. And the key is actually, this is the statement that we just heard us say. All right, but don't wait, for the other person to treat you well. And there's a principle that is found in the Bible. These are from the words of Jesus. It's actually in Matthew 7:12,
Mhm.
and a lot of people actually know the first part of this verse very well, but I was a little shocked today when I looked it up again and I saw the second part of it. Okay, so this is Matthew 7:12. Okay, so what Jesus says.
In everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the law and the prophets.
Okay, so Jesus is talking in whenever somebody says the law and the prophet, they're actually talking about the entire Old Testament.
Mm.
So Jesus is basically saying that when you do to others, what you would have them do for you. Now, what do we call this? We call this the golden rule, right? Yeah. So the golden rule goes like, basically in simplified form. The golden rule is
Treat others how you would like to be treated.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So this is where the golden rule comes from. In case you're wondering, it's even though a lot of times it is quoted without any reference, to the Bible, it's really based on the words of Jesus. So treat others how you would like to be treated. So a good checkpoint is to say, am I treating my spouse the way that I would like them to treat me? Like that's really the golden rule. Okay.
This, yeah, the Bible verse is it love your
And
neighbor
love your neighbor
as
as yourself.
yourself.
Yeah. So you love your neighbor as you would love yourself. And
Mhm.
it's interesting in Ephesians 5, where Paul talks about the husband specifically loving their wives. He's saying, he says, no one hates their own body.
Mhm.
Okay. In other words, you would not hurt your own body, so you should not hurt your spouse. In this case, it's particularly talking about men and women. Men with their wives, husbands with their wives. All right, Brenna, have a good evening with the kids, and we will catch you later.
Mhm.
So glad you could join us and
Yes.
contribute so much today. Appreciate
Yes.
that very much. Yeah. And so all of that basically is like saying, you know what, if I don't want in my case, if I don't want Sloja to treat me a particular way, I'm not going to treat her that way,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So that is the golden rule. And when you do that, friends, you are what are you doing? You're actually serving each other, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting because royalty, king, queen, we normally, those are people with a lot of power and authority, and so they can actually order others to meet their needs, to serve them. But really, this is an upside down value from what that particular picture is, because we're talking about serving.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
act
Mhm.
as kings and queens to each other when we actually serve each other,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Being
So
humble and
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Now, some of you may already also be familiar with something that is called the platinum rule. You ever heard of the platinum rule? Okay. So the platinum rule is, of course, a step beyond the golden rule, and the platinum rule says,
Treat others how they would like to be treated.
okay. So here the emphasis. Did you notice the difference? The golden
Mhm.
rule is treat others how
You would
you would like to be treated. Okay. But the platinum rule says treat others how
they would like
they would like to be treated. Okay. In other words, this takes a little bit more of understanding in the context of marriage,
Mhm.
your spouse,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if I want to treat Slojana royally or like royalty, then I need to be aware
Mhm.
of how I can treat Slojana so that she would feel,
Mhm.
that she's being valued, she's being honored, she's being loved, she's being respected,
Mhm.
for her to feel like a queen. All right. And so Slojana, I mean, this is a huge topic. We can
Yeah.
get a
Go
lot
on.
into it. But one of the simplest ways that we have found couples can do this is through,
The love languages. I think we have talked about this before also in another session. And if you really want to get more details, we'll talk about it now. More details on the love languages, the 5 love languages,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You can go and listen to that, or there is a book also, right?
yeah,
The 5 love languages
yeah.
by what's the author's name?
I believe it's Gary Smalley
Gary Small.
that wrote that book. Okay, so many of you have heard this, right? You know this, these 5 love languages. You've heard about them. Um, you know, I mean, because everybody uses it, even though the first time I heard about it was in the context of church.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's not really limited to church, because we're all created in a particular way.
Mm-hmm.
And what Gary Smalley basically discovered is that even when we say that we love each other, or my spouse loves me, we may not always feel loved, simply because the way in which we experience love is not the way we're wired to receive love. Okay, I hope I didn't sound too much like a professor there. Okay.
In other words, in short form, everybody's love language is different,
Yeah,
right? The way I feel loved is different from the way Jiva feels loved, right?
yeah,
So maybe we'll mention the 5 love languages.
yeah,
So here are the 5 love languages. First one is words of, you can go in any order: words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Yeah.
yeah. So what this really means is that you will. Um, so, for example, let's use ourselves as an example,
Mhm.
Sloja.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask her because I know she knows the answer. Is what are my primary love languages?
It's acts of service is the top one, and the second one is words of affirmation.
Information.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So in other words, if Sloja keeps on buying me a lot of gifts, then I'm going to appreciate them, but that's not the primary way in which I'll be experiencing love. You know, or if
Your
she
love tank doesn't get
get filled,
filled.
yeah. Or physical touch, she could be touching me, throwing herself at me all the time. Oh Lord. And I will enjoy that. Don't get me wrong. It's enjoyable when your spouse gives you that kind of attention, but that is not primarily how I experience love. For me, an express love is through acts of service. So when I'm doing things, for Slojana, right? When I take care of things around the house, then I'm not just, giving her a break. I'm actually expressing love. That's the way that I look at. That's why I feel. I don't even have to stop and think. Oh, okay. I have to show some acts of service. No, it just comes very naturally. Okay, and so let's hone in on the words of affirmation because that is your second language as well.
Words
Words
of
of affirmation,
affirmation.
right?
Yeah.
So when we both experience and express love in words of affirmation, then the more you appreciate what your spouse does and tell them about it. Now we all appreciate what our spouses do for us, but if their love language, primary love language or secondary love language, top two, is words of affirmation, then when you open your mouth and tell it to them, for them it's like, ah, I feel so loved. Okay, yeah, and so Suloja, tell us about what quality time like. How does that make you feel like a queen or royalty?
Yeah, yeah. So for me, the first the top one love language is quality time. So whenever Jiva makes time, we do that once a week. We set aside Friday evening as our night, and when he makes that time to and puts his phone away, and we both just spend time together. That's all I need. That then I'm good for another week. I am happy, and my love tank is filled.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Hey, by the way, hello to Imtiaz from watching from Pakistan. All right, great to see you, Imtiaz. Another one of my LinkedIn connections that is always interacting with our posts. So we appreciate you and appreciate you joining us right now. Okay, so yeah, here Dave and Carol are making a good point about this what we call the platinum rule. It is really understanding and taking the time to really know your spouse, how they tick, and to be selfless in doing that. And that's what we're talking about. We're using love languages, as one of the ways, but that's not the only way. Okay. As a matter of fact, there's this fail-proof way in which you can find out how your spouse would like to be treated so that they feel like royalty. You know what that fail-proof way is? You ask them. You simply look at your spouse in the eyes and say, "Hey, honey, I know I haven't really been treating you like royalty all the time. Tell me, what can I do And if she says, well, a Mercedes Benz would be a good place to start, and you got $34 in your bank account, you may have a problem. No, but you know what I mean? Like, obviously, a person has to be reasonable. And I think most spouses will not say that. I'm just kind of having fun with it. But they'll tell you, you know what? When you do that, like I thought I was always spending quality time with Slojana. And then one day she said, what are you doing? I said, well, we're sitting right next to each other. I'm spending time with you. No, she said, what are you doing with your phone? Well, I'm just like
checking
messages and hey, we're watching a movie together. We're with each other. What's the problem? And so she had to tell me that no, when we are together and you're spending time on your phone, then that's not quality time.
No.
So she's basically saying at that point, I'm not treating her like a queen, because this queen deserves my undivided attention at that point. That's what makes her feel good. That's what makes her feel like royalty. And so if you're married, you need to ask your spouse, what can I do? What can I say? Like, how can I make you feel like royalty? And then have a discussion about what they say. And really,
and there is a short quiz people can take to find your love language also.
Yes. Yeah. Love languages. If you just Google this, you'll find it. Love languages couples quiz. It'll take you straight there. And it'll take you about 10 minutes to complete it. And then within a few minutes, you'll get a report showing you what your love languages are. And you share your reports with each other.
Yeah.
So you know what your spouse's love language is if you've never done it. Oh, by the way, your love languages actually can change over time.
True.
Yeah. Probably because you get beaten down in certain areas and you found different ways to cope. I don't know what it is. But yes, our friend Meredith Walker joining us all the way from Prince Edward Island. Okay. Meredith, you have a memory of me that, oh my goodness, sermons in bare feet are the best. Oh, I think I have preached in my sandals. I didn't realize I was preached with my bare feet before. Okay. But friends, this is not rocket science. This is simple stuff, and but it is targeted simple stuff. It is, and that's why as marriage mentors, we can teach principles and teach strategies, but you as a couple always have to apply them to your unique situation, because we do not know always what makes you tick that is unique to you as a couple, or you as the husband, you as a wife. And can I tell you something? Sloz and I, we're both called, we're in the Christian world, we're called being prophetic people. In other words, we can hear from God. We can, sometimes tell you stuff that's going on in your life. But when it comes to each other, we're not very prophetic. Okay, we can't read each other's minds. Sometimes we can read each other's mail. That's the expression we use, that God gives you another person's mail, but we can't read each other's mind.
No.
But
especially when it changes every day.
Yeah. Speak for yourself. Okay. That was the old joke. The reason why her mind is so pure and clean is because she keeps on changing it all the time. Anyway, we won't go there. I might get stoned for that one. Okay. So anyway, we're coming to the end of our time together here. But friends, this is not tough to do. It's all we're trying to say to you. And if you have been following this, then you've been treating each other like royalty. Chances are you're getting the royal treatment, from each other, and your home then becomes the first place you want to come back to, and the last place you want to leave, as we said earlier. But if it's not there, you can change. There's hope for you.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we always tell people when we come. People come to us. There's hope for you, and there's help for you. But you have to humble yourself and ask for it. It's as simple as that. Okay. And so we're giving you hope, with what we've shared today.
Yeah. And no marriage is perfect, and every marriage can grow, change. You can make little adjustments here and there, and if you want your marriage to be successful, that's what we need to do. And we still learn every day, make changes, talk to each
Yeah.
other, and yeah. So
Yeah. All right,
mm,
friends. So if you need that hope and you need the help, especially,
mm,
then reach out to us.
yeah.
Send us a direct message on LinkedIn, Messenger on Facebook, or go to our website, fill out the contact form, and we'll take it from there. All right. So we have a hard stop here in 2 minutes because we have another appointment right after. So we'll pray before that. All right. Yeah. So if you're sitting together watching this as a couple, then join hands
Mhm,
with each other. Swajan and I are doing that here as well.
mhm,
And so yeah, we're just going to pronounce a blessing on you. All right. So Lord, I thank you for this time for us to do this live today, and for all the couples and singles that have joined us here today, and even married people watching on their own, whatever the case may be, Lord. You have made us your children, and because you're a king, we're all sons and daughters, we're princes and princesses, we're also kings and queens, we're royalty. And so we pray that you will help us to see each other that way. And because we see each other that way, we will then treat each other that way. And Lord, I also pray today for any couples that may be going through difficulties in their marriage, that may be in that place where they are not looking forward to being at home
mhm,
or with each other, or they've compensated for being with each other with doing something else, getting lost in their work or addictions or another person, whatever the case may be, or even their children. I pray that you will help them to acknowledge the error of their ways, to repent, to turn to you, to start anew, to start afresh. And Lord, give them the humility to ask each other the answer to that question: how can I change so that you will sense that I'm treating you as royalty? And so we thank you for the changes that are happening.
mhm.
We thank you for the marriages that are coming together. And we just want to bless all of you who are watching us today. And we also ask, ask you, God, that you will release a blessing upon everyone who is watching today, whether with us live or later on the replay. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
All right, everybody, we'll do this again next Wednesday. We're here every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. We thank each and every one of you who has joined us today, interacted with us. And again, if you have any other questions, because our sessions are called Ask the Sams Anything About Marriage. So if you have anything at all that you want to ask about marriage, contact us rather, send them to us. Don't put them on the comments here, because we don't always go back and pay attention to comments that you're posting after the live. But send us a message, and we will address them one way or the other. If we need to address with you personally, we will do that, or we can use that as the kind of the theme for another session. So you'll be helping us that way. All right. Have a great week. God bless you all.